Hi, and welcome to the Postmodern Family Podcast, the Postmod Pod. This is episode 5, and I'm Felipe.
I'm Lillian.
And we are live from England. And as usual, we will begin with the icebreakers. And after the icebreakers, we will do our 3 stories each. So let me just, why don't you chat them up a little bit while I find these icebreakers?
Sure. You guys might be wondering what we are doing because normally on this Postmodern Family channel, we do reaction videos, but we have started a podcast called Postmod Pod, and you can find it on somewhere on YouTube. You can also find it on Apple Podcasts and etc. I think I need to bring my mic closer. Careful.
And I don't know if it's my audio through my headset, but that was just a bit too loud.
I was too loud?
Mine.
You're too loud. Yeah, that does look like...
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, we're ready with the icebreaker. Thanks for that space filler.
No problem.
Now, the next question is, the zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people you want on your team?
Okay,
who are 3
anyone,
people
right?
you want?
Do they have to be real people or like fictional characters?
Fine, go with fake or real. It'll indicate something personally about you.
Okay.
Based on your choices.
Look at your hand is blocking my face over there.
What are we discussing today?
A good
Okay.
Angle of my face.
Leighton asked, what are we discussing today? You will see. We'll do 3 stories. I'll pick 3 stories and Lillian will do 3 stories and we will discuss. And we shall take comments at any time because we will be live through the whole time. Now,
okay. I guess because I don't know very many people alive who are really good at life skills. So I would say Robinson Crusoe because he probably can build things in the wild.
Yeah.
And then it'd have to be another woman to pair up with him. So
I see.
I would say
I didn't think of that.
My friend Natasha because she seems very fertile in having
but she's
11
got a
children.
husband.
Well, this is obviously you're saying if that then I don't know what I'm saying then. Okay, another one. Let's do a 20-some-year-old high fertility attractive woman who's not going to lure my husband away.
A hypothetical will be okay, I see. Not going to lure me away. Okay, right. You got your 2. Okay, here we go. So,
well, you have 3. You don't have to choose your spouse.
I know. But look at this. The zombie apocalypse will not last forever. So it's not like these are going to be the last 4 people on Earth, okay, who have to repopulate the whole civilization.
Oh, I missed the question.
So it was just the zombie apocalypse is upon you. Who do you pick on your team? 3 people. That's it.
Okay, I'm going to change my answer.
There's no redos and backtracks and redos. Okay, so I'll pick Jocko, the former Navy SEAL.
Oh, okay.
Clearly you're on the team, so there's just one space for one more guy, and that one more guy is probably I don't know.
Jason Bourne.
No. Yeah, the fictional Jason Bourne. There it is. The fictional Jason Bourne.
Which one? Which one from? Oh, just Matt Damon's
character.
The
Matt Damon character.
Not the other one. What's his name?
I don't know. No. Forget Jason Bourne. I will pick Jason Stedham. So the British actor.
The hitman guy?
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Okay. That's the icebreakers. Sorry, the first story is not from the United States. The first story is about Boris's statements at the G7. They're very curious statements he has made today. All appearances are off the cuff, which is his usual style. So let's see how we're getting on here. Let me pause this. I had lowered my volume all the way because I was live. So here we go.
I think that is what the people of our countries now want us to focus on. They want us to be sure that we're beating the pandemic together and discussing how we'll never have a repeat of what we've seen, but also that we're building back better together and building back greener and building back fairer and building back more equal and how shall I, more in a more gender neutral and perhaps a more feminine way. How about that, apart from anything else? So those are some of the objectives
What an
that we have
idiot.
before us at Carbis Bay. I think that is what the people of
Okay, so did everyone get that? Let me jump back into the YouTube Live and lower my volume. Okay, so Boris there is on record as saying that the Great Reset is real. That after the pandemic, we're going to rebuild civilization in a better image than we found it. And that image will consist of gender neutrality, environmentally friendly, and more feminine. More feminine. What do you think that means?
I think he was thinking about the men being more feminine. That's what I think. Because,
okay.
like, he doesn't, because he's a man, he doesn't want to impose. He doesn't want to be too masculine, toxic masculinity. So I think he was just thinking in his head that he should be more feminine, or men should be more feminine. Because I don't think he's saying that women should be more feminine. Not at all.
So how do you build back something in a more feminine way? Go ahead, just tell us.
In a feminine way.
Yeah, in a more feminine way.
Is that gonna work? This is worse.
Here we go. You just get Lillian. I hope that audio is even better.
This is the worst angle of my face.
I'm trying to get the audio.
You should just go back over there.
No, that's too far.
Oh. All right. Well, how do you build back more feminine? I don't think he was actually saying that we should build back more feminine. So
okay.
I think he had a mishmash of words, and I think some slogans were stuck in his head, like the future is female, and then he just started like blurting out things that sounded
so
like
you think
that.
it was just gobbledygook?
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to mutter a series of catchphrases that would make him seem amenable to the press and to the people listening to him there. He wasn't speaking to the common man. He was speaking to the G7 leaders and to the university elites and to the press. And I don't think he says what he means or means what he says.
Yeah.
So what a joke. What an embarrassment. Okay. Now, thanks, Paul. Let's see if any of our people have any comments. Let's see here. What do we say? Does Boris want Angela Merkel to be more feminine? That would be actually an impossible magic trick to accomplish. Let's see. I think Boris had a stroke. Okay. It's strange world we live in. Now a more feminine broadcast, Paul Barker says, because you're the fun. Okay, here we go. Next story is story 2.
Do you need to explain to anyone what G7 is? What the G7 is?
No, the G7, the common man knows what the G7.
What does it stand for, though? Just global?
The Global 7, I think.
I don't know.
Global Elite 7. Okay, that was story 1. The second story comes from the U.S. It appears to be a school board meeting. This is the tweet. Angry parent at school board meeting comments on a new sex book which is being introduced to 5-year-olds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so let's see what she has to say about sex education for her 5-year-olds.
She came to your school when she procures bids for ISU with construction and came to your school and spoke to your staff for 2 straight days. Why did she do that? This is why she did that. This is why she did that. To make sure that when our students want to know whether or not they have a vagina or a penis, they have pictures from your staff to be able to help them. They don't have enough sex. They don't have enough anal sex. They need adults to tell them how to masturbate. And what I call that is... So here's what I'm asking you. You have a hard time hearing this from me, but this is for 10 years old and up, and this bill was passed for 5-year-olds. And you have a hard time me sitting here telling you the words anal sex, masturbation. That's hard for you, or the time's up? Because the time's not really up. I don't believe you, Mr. Wiley, that my time is up. But I'm going to end with this. I'll close with with this because this was too much for you. I can tell right now. And that's why you're cutting me off. But last time I said, you know what? Critical race theory. Little girl in the back was laughing every single time Megan said something because white people oppress black people, right? Isn't your principal black? Isn't your mayor black? Now I would like to introduce to you Ty.
So where's this from? Where is this?
This is I can't tell from the accent, but it seems like Midwest.
Okay.
It doesn't say. So there's some school board meeting in which I guess a bill has been passed to authorize the material that has been previously been used for 10-year-olds to pass on to 5-year-olds. And she showed pictures of the material and described the material that was already in distribution for 10-year-olds. And that distribution described how to masturbate, how to have anal sex, etc. And so that bill that she was objecting to was now being discussed for or is now going to be taught to 5-year-olds.
That's crazy.
So my question is, firstly, as an educator or former public school educator in the U.S., did you have any run-ins with sex education?
No, I didn't. I was really grateful because I taught in an elementary school, which is primary school, up to age 10. And I was a music teacher. And the school that I was in was predominantly middle to lower class Christian population, Catholic actually. So I never felt any problems just teaching as you would for music, the classical Mozart and Beethoven.
How about when you were in the school system? At what age did you get graphic illustrations of genitalia?
That was in middle school, so that was age that's 8th grade is 12, 11 or 12, 11, something like that.
Okay.
And it was really awkward. Like they would show the screen and a diagram of what parts
For
were.
me, it was PE, physical education, and not until high school. So this is mid-90s, so about 1995, 1996. And they had that old projector style with the images that rotated around a carousel. And they showed pictures of penises, pictures of vaginas, and pictures of how they would be together that way. And at the end of that lesson, she had a big fishbowl of condoms. And said, yeah, take what you need. You don't have to pay for it. It's all free. So that was so it seems like the sex education has gotten younger and younger. And now it's hitting in the U.S. at the 5-year-old level, which is the case that it's already at the 5-year-old level here?
It was going to start in September.
To our audience members from the channel, at what age are the
children learning about sex education?
Yeah, what age are children learning about sex education?
I just know that the statutory RSE was supposed to come into effect September 2020, but because of COVID, it got pushed back, and that did include lessons all the way down to age 4. So
sex education lessons.
Sex education lessons in terms of body parts and and family makeup.
How
many dads?
What's normal?
Moms,
etc.
What's normal?
So clearly, this is now hitting in the U.S., and the parents seem to be massively. Hello, folks. The parents seem to be massively pushing back. 13, someone says. I doubt it. I think it's younger. So the parents seem to be pushing back valiantly. It seems, sort of rebuking the superintendents, so much so that the superintendent was squirming and saying, I'm uncomfortable with this discussion. And she's rightly saying, if you're uncomfortable, can you imagine my 5-year-old? Or can you imagine my 10-year-old? So what is this overall agenda about? What do you think?
I don't know.
Oh, someone says, Flirty Girl says, nursery age. My friend's daughter left her job because of it.
Wow. So that's like age 3 in nursery age.
Yeah.
Under 4.
What is that? They're showing penises to 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds? That's That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So what do you think the broader agenda is? What's your theory? Why push sex education? Firstly, why do they claim to push it? But secondly, why do you think they really are pushing it? Because what they say is the reason isn't really the real reason.
Mm-hmm. So I think the reason that they say is just so that they think that it's preventative for casual sex or pregnancies, teenage pregnancies. They think that the younger someone knows about something and learns about something, that the more that they can resist it.
And have studies proven that to be true?
The inverse, actually. So studies have shown that
the more sex education you give kids, the more sex they have.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Isn't that ironic? Isn't it ironic? So it's the opposite case. So the hypothesis that if you give sex education to children, they are going to be, yes, they are available to order.
These mugs.
These mugs are available to order. They're a bit pricey, but worth every penny because they go to fund the channel and what we do here.
So that they're on teespring.com/stores/the Postmodern Family.
Yes.
Like
and
that.
To all our podcast listeners, you can buy them too. Okay, so so clearly the hypothesis that the more sex education you give, the more chase or the less sex they're going to have.
Not even the less sex. It's just about preventing conception. So preventing pregnancies. So they don't care if you have a lot of sex. That's why they're giving you condoms.
Oh, I see. So they're trying to prevent pregnancies. So isn't it the case that I've heard teenage pregnancies are going down and down and down?
Mm-hmm.
Is it teenage pregnancies or is it teenage births? Because
I don't know. Who knows?
Because abortion could easily be handling the reduction of birth in teenage daughters.
That's right. I don't know which one it is.
Okay.
I think, but what has clearly been happening is the increase of sexual promiscuity.
Yeah.
So
and I think that's how they initially brought it into the curriculum. They said if you educate them, they're going to be more careful and they're not going to have as much sex because they see that diseases are rampant, pregnancy is a risk. They see all the real world damages that could happen if you have sex. So they'll choose not to.
Yeah, but they're actually not teaching the real world damages of anal sex. So unfortunately, they're wrong in that aspect. They're hiding that part of it.
Okay. And then my hypothesis for the real reason, which might have been conjured up long ago and lost in the midst of time, is that the more you debauch the children, the more they grow up to be debauched adults, the weaker they are morally in their convictions and their courage. So in fact, enemies of a country have easily and quickly latched on to the strategy of debauching their enemy society because everyone knows that a man addicted to porn, a man addicted to masturbation, a man addicted to sex is a man that will not jump out of the rampart and march into the no man's land and charge the enemy. And so it is directly correlated that a sexually debauched society is a society that is weakened from defending its freedoms. And so that's why China has incurred into Hollywood. What do you say to that theory?
Well, I wonder I don't know if it's about attacking or other countries attacking other countries, but I think it's about the growth of the government. So the people in power want more power, and you get more power by having more people rely on you. And people know that the more families are broken down, then they rely more on the government. So women who get pregnant outside of wedlock or marriage, then they end up having to, many end up having to rely on government to give them money so that they can survive because they didn't secure a husband beforehand. So I think it just creates a bit of the family unit has broken down, and therefore the government has to step in and give out more handouts, and therefore its power grows. And so I think that it's not necessarily country against country. I think it's possibly that the people in power want more power.
But there's no. So you're saying that this is just another instrument in separating children from their parents?
No. This is about people relying on the government.
Okay. How are they relying more on government by getting sex education?
Because then they end up having children out of wedlock because they're increasing the amount of
So you're
times
saying
they're-
government want more children out of wedlock so that more people rely on government handouts?
Yes.
I think
They
that
do.
might be partly true.
But that's also true for the men on the side of men, where so many men have been in financial ruin because of things like divorce and.
I think it's probably the more sensible non-conspirational conspiracy. There isn't there a modification to conspiracy that makes it conspiratorial. The non-conspiratorial explanation is simply that people who engage in debauchery want others to engage in debauchery.
Okay, that's true.
Sin begets sin. And so the person who's debauched cannot fathom or cannot countenance the presence of people not sinning around them. They must be sinning in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blend, I think, of reasons, all which amount to the weakening of society. So you have people who are just indulging in sexual debauchery, who want others to indulge in sexual debauchery, all the while weakening a country.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory. Anyway, let's get to my final story. Story is actually our good old friend, former Prime Minister, the lovely Theresa May. The lovely Theresa May is actually saying something that I agree with. It's a very rare occasion in life, but so I figure when I found it, I might as well play it. It's very good. Here we go.
We will not eradicate COVID-19 from the UK. There will not be a time when we can say that there will never be another case of COVID-19 in this country. Secondly, variants will keep on coming. There will be new variants every year. If the government's position is that we cannot open up travel until there are no new variants elsewhere in the world, then we will never be able to travel abroad ever again. And the third fact that the government needs to state much more clearly is that sadly people will die from COVID here in the UK in the future, as 10 to 20,000 people do every year from flu. It's incomprehensible, I think, that one of the most heavily vaccinated countries in the world is one that is most reluctant to give its citizens the freedoms those vaccinations should support. We will not.
Okay, so she's clearly critiquing the government for its position, critiquing the position which is, oh, we can't open up until we have controlled all the variants.
Is that really what they're saying now?
That's what, well, look, they've delayed the quote. It's so stupid to call it Freedom Day. I hate calling it Freedom Day because it's as though freedom is a gift from government and we should be thankful for it. And so government is giving it back to us. That's just all bollocks to me. So she's saying, look, that she's critiquing the fact that it's now been leaked or purposely leaked that there's 0% chance that that June 21st will be the day which we come out of all the measures. And that's going to be pushed to July at some point. And so it seems like in Parliament, she's critiquing that, saying the premise of that move is that we can't get freedom until all the variants are under control.
Right.
And she's rightly saying there will be always the next variant. There will be the next variant. And so to think, so she's saying she's actually doing a better job than the opposition government. Let me turn this light off that I accidentally turned on. She's doing a better job than opposition government, I think, than Keir Starmer, or whatever his name is, who's just, his opposition has been go harder, Boris. You haven't gone hard enough.
That's
you know, it's like that lockdown hasn't been long enough.
Is that opposition?
Or you need to mandate vaccines rather than just give them the choice. So it's been a harder authoritarian critique.
Do you think Theresa May's clever? Does she know that?
Do you think this is her way back into the prime ministership?
Yeah, like does she? Maybe she somehow gauged the population, realizing that she needs to, come back a little bit and push back against the government measures and all this stuff, and that people will love her for it.
99 Red Pills has been making a lot of good comments tonight. He says it's probably the best argument she's made for 20 years. May is normally awful. So I think, yeah.
Someone has advised her well
So
on
yeah,
this move.
she might be, I don't know. I don't think based on her Brexit performance that she stands a chance of coming back. But, never say never. But yeah, what I find interesting about that critique was that she's right that we'll never get a handle on the variants, but she's wrong in saying that the vaccines are the ticket to freedom.
Well, that's what the government has been saying. That's what she's saying, is that the government
is being contradictory. It's being
the government has said before the vaccine is our ticket out of lockdown. They've said that like word for word, and then the vaccines have been rolled out, and now they're like,
"Oh,
well,
we can't.
You still have to wear your mask. You still have to socially distance. You still have to abide by all the rules, and then." I don't know if some of them even have to get a negative test. I don't know. Before traveling.
Yeah.
So they say. I've been listening to the book by Laura Dodsworth, A State of Fear.
Yeah.
You guys need to read this book if you haven't already. Your very own British journalist, Laura Dodsworth, and she has said that the government has clearly continuously moved the goalposts. Right. So they say the goalpost is 3 weeks, and then we'll lift the lockdown, right? 3 weeks to flatten the curve, right? And that was over a year ago. And then they moved it over to, well, I don't know, the vaccine was the next thing that I remember, the major thing. Then the vaccine was rolled out, and then now they're like, we need to stop.
And so the new goalpost is control all the variants?
I think so. I don't even know. It doesn't even make sense because you can't. You can't control the variants.
Yeah, and it seems that this is shortening the time we have before the next COVID season.
Yes.
So COVID season begins August?
That's what they say. I don't know.
So it'll be fourth wave. We'll be back in lockdown.
No, it's got to be more like September, October. August is just still warm, I think.
Shawnee, what are you drinking? So yeah, that was my last story. I think that it's appalling to think that we should be thankful for the gift of freedom from government. That's just not English. Not only is it not American, but it is not English. From a big tradition of Magna Carta, all the way to King Henry VIII. We have a long tradition of wrangling back our freedoms from despots who would rule us dictatorially. And so to think that authoritarian rule on the justification of COVID is justified and that we should be thankful for the crumbs of freedom they give us is absolutely absurd. Okay, so that was my 3 stories, and we're about the halfway point, so you might as well... Oh no! I have to hand over my phone.
Yeah, so I can read my.
Okay.
I figure next time we will just live stream on that one over there,
as well as record.
It'll just record it automatically.
Video. Oh yeah, and it'll run the audio.
Yeah, straight to the thing.
Why didn't we think of that before?
I thought of it, but I didn't want to create a new link and confuse all of our viewers yet again. Okay, so my stories.
Man, that's a brilliant idea.
I know.
2 with 1 stone, and here we are struggling.
Next time. So
as
this
I said,
one,
it's our first time doing this.
Exactly.
So be patient.
All right, this one is going to be cringe. I'm just going to warn you. It has to do with the guy, Jeffrey Toobin, who masturbated on Zoom and then got fired. Well, he was welcomed back on CNN, and they
he was a CNN correspondent.
Very cringely explained what happened. He's there sitting there looking at her. So I'm going to try and play it for you guys. And here we go. Hi, Jeffrey. Back to the beginning.
Allison. Let's bring in CNN chief legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin to talk about this and more. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Allison.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, indeed.
I feel like we should address what's happened in the months since we've seen you, since some of our viewers may not know what has happened. So I guess I'll recap.
Wow,
I'll do the honors.
Recap it. How embarrassing.
Help yourself.
Okay. In October, you were on a Zoom call with your colleagues from the New Yorker magazine. Everyone took a break for several minutes, during which time you were caught masturbating on camera. You were subsequently fired from that job after 27 years of working there. And you, since then, have been on leave from CNN. Do I have all that right?
You got it all right, sad to say.
Okay, so let's start there.
Okay.
To quote Jay Leno, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, obviously, I wasn't thinking very well or very much, and it was something that was inexplicable to me. I think one point, I wouldn't exactly say in my defense, because nothing is really in my defense. I didn't think I was on the call. I didn't think other people could see me.
You thought that you had turned off your camera?
Correct. I thought that I had turned off the Zoom call. Now, that's not a defense. This was deeply moronic and indefensible, but I mean that is part of the story. And you know, I have spent the 7 subsequent months, miserable months in my life, I can certainly confess, trying to be a better person. I mean, in therapy, trying to do some public service, working in a food bank, which I certainly am going to continue to do, working on a new book about the Oklahoma City bombing. But I am trying to become the kind of person that people.
Okay.
Whoa.
So
he's trying to come back. Yeah.
So what's the point? What's the point of the story of
well, you had
talking
mentioned
this story?
Actually, I think it was in story 1 where you're talking about how men are addicted to porn, masturbation, and that weakens society. And it just, I think a lot of people are addicted.
Oh yeah.
And therefore, it weakens our whole society, and including these people like representatives on CNN. But anyway, what was he? I mean, clearly he said he wasn't thinking, but why would you then take a break in the middle of? They were just taking a break between conference.
Yeah.
Why?
The thing. Yeah. So the thing is it's clear that every man, in the fallen condition that he is born in, is born with the propensity to sexualize every woman he sees. There are mental mechanics that go on, images of what would she look like naked, what would she look like if this was happening.
So you think he was thinking that of one of his colleagues?
It's very well possible. So you have 2 choices to make about yourself as a man. Either you let those mental mechanics that you're born with rule you and govern you and lead your thought life, or you govern them and you curtail them and you manage them. And so I think the advent of pornography and the advent of the sexualization of society has signaled to men that it's okay to run wild with those mental mechanics. And so he probably, saw someone on the call that he imagined in a certain way and decided to take care of business.
So do you think it was handled properly? Do you think that that he was fired, like he said, for 7 months, and that now he's back? Do you think that was the proper move?
No, I think well, yes and no. I think if he would have said, I failed miserably, I have sexualized my mind, and I repent of that, and now I will try to, I have committed to reforming myself and not sexualizing every woman I see, and I've stopped masturbating altogether. And if that was handled privately with him and his bosses, then I would consider allowing him back. But to put him back in a public post, to ferry him in front of the camera again and confess all this,
it's basically saying it's okay.
It's making light of it. Like the lady wasn't even awkward about it when she described it.
No, exactly.
She was just very humorous.
And so I think that's where we've got in the point of this of our society, where she's basically saying this is normal. Sorry you got caught out. It was bad timing, but this is normal. And I don't know if that's really what we should be encouraging in our society.
Yeah. So it's just another symptom of a debauched society. There's my halo again. Sorry, guys. I'm that saintly. So I think, that's just a symptom, and it's an embarrassment that that they've made light of it.
Okay, so now we're on my second story.
Yeah.
And this is...
How does the audio sound, guys? Do you like that? Leave your comments. I think it's going to be much clearer.
I think so too. Okay, this is a tweet that says this woman deserves endless retweets.
Ooh, this sounds like it's going to be a very virtuous thing.
This is American. No, this is not sarcastic.
Oh,
this
okay.
is real.
Oh, okay.
This is from Florida.
Oh, the best state in the union, baby.
Thank you for having me speak. My name is Keisha King. I'm a mom of two, one who's in the Duval County Public School System and one in private school thanks to school choice. I'm also a member of Moms for Liberty, representing thousands of parents. Just coming off of May 31st, marking the 100 years of the Tulsa riots, it is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021. That is not teaching the truth, unless you believe that whites are better than blacks. I have personally heard teachers teaching CRT, and we have had an assembly shut down because Duval County Public School System consultant thought it would be a great idea to separate students by race. This is unacceptable.
Wow.
CRT is not racial sensitivity or simply teaching unfavorable American history or teaching Jim Crow history. CRT is deeper and more dangerous than that. CRT, and its outworking today, is a teaching that there is a hierarchy in society where white, male, heterosexual, able-bodied people are deemed the oppressor, and anyone else outside of that status is oppressed. That's why we see corporations like Coca-Cola asking their employees to be less white, which is ridiculous. I don't know about you, but telling my child or any child that they are in a permanent oppressed status in America because they are black is racist, and saying that white people are automatically above me, my children, or any child is racist as well. This is not something that we can stand for in our country. And don't take it from me, look at the writers of these types of publications. Our ancestors, white, black, and others, hung, bled, and died right alongside each other to push America towards that more perfect union. If this continues, we will look back and be responsible for the dismantling of the greatest country in the world by reverting to teaching hate and that race is a determining factor on where your destiny lies. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
So, in case you didn't know, critical race theory is the latest hot thing everyone wants to teach or talk about, and then other ones hate it, absolutely hate it, and think it's wrong. We don't think that it's the right thing to teach young children or even normal adults. Critical race theory, like she said, it puts people based on race in a category of oppressed and the oppressor. And if you constantly say to someone who is dark-skinned that they're oppressed, that you're basically telling them that they are a victim no matter what their skin color, no matter what they do, just the fact that their color of the skin is darker or black, that they're going to be oppressed. And you can't raise children like that, to think that they're always going to be victims. That's just impossible. And it's wrong. Is it working? Is it? Can
Yes,
you guys
it
hear
is.
us?
They said they hear us loud and clear. Can you hear my very sonorous? Sonorous. That's my new name. Sonorous. Sonorous
Notorious
voice.
Sonorious.
Sonorious B.I.G. That's my name.
Your rapper name.
That's my rapper name. So, what do I have to say about that? I think it's interesting that it appears to be mainly the mama bears. Oh, what's going on?
Sorry,
here?
I hit the wrong button there.
Here we go again. I think it's interesting that it's the mama bears that are usually. I don't know if it's just them being pushed on Twitter.
No, I think.
Or it's only them actually standing up. But where are the fathers?
Well, you maybe didn't see the video, but not only was she female, but she was also black and very dark-skinned black.
Not just black, but very dark-skinned black.
You have to point this out.
Why do you have to point that out?
Because she's in their category of oppressed and victim. And if she was white and if she was male, they would be like, you're not allowed to say anything. You can't say anything.
Okay.
So you have to choose someone who's of the victim class to speak out and say,
So
no,
you're
this
saying
whole thing is wrong.
the previous one that we viewed on sexual education, it was a white mom.
Yeah.
And
But
I've seen
she's female.
and I've seen others. Clearly, she's a mom. There's
Yeah.
only
I know.
only females can be moms.
I
By the
know.
way, in case you didn't know.
I'm just identifying the part of her that makes her in the oppressed category.
Right.
That allows her to then speak out.
Yeah. So then you're saying you have to have a card. You have to be carrying a card that authorizes you to speak, either being
don't
female
have
or
to.
being black or both.
You don't have to, but for some reason, it gives the leftists more that you have more credibility. Okay, so you can have someone like Jordan Peterson, who is male and white, speaking out against this. He's very intellectual and he's correct, but at the same time,
he's going to be ignored.
He's going to be ignored by the screaming leftists.
Okay, fine. So you're saying that's what explains only the moms standing up.
I think so.
You think if a father stood up there, they'd just shout him down or push him away?
Yeah, they would say it's toxic masculinity. You're
I'm going
privileged.
to show you some toxic masculinity right now. So the other comment I have to say is of a historical nature. Now, ever since, in the U.S. at least, the education of the children have been in the hands of government, there have been previous fights for the curriculum over the children. Fights that even went to the Supreme Court. The most memorable one for me, I can't remember the case. Maybe our commentators can remind me. But the case on Darwin, the case on evolution. There was a big case, either 70s or 60s in the U.S., in which a family sued the school district for teaching evolution. And that case famously made it to a high-level court. And that family was painted to be laughable, backwards, etc. And the case stood: evolution would be taught. And so the battle for the battle of curriculums, if you will, is a long battle. And let's just label that battle as progressive, not progressive liberalism, but in the right sense of progressive, that it's meant to be it's meant to be progressing in the right direction.
Yes, in the right
let's
direction.
call it. And so this is just progressive education. And the purveyors of CRT and of sexual
Gender.
debauchery and gender theory, that all those things that are being pushed onto the children are just forebearers of or bearers of the tradition of progressive curriculum.
Right.
And so they're standing on the shoulders of people who have pushed the progression of curriculum. So what makes us think this just has echoes for me, echoes of families that objected to evolution, probably echoes of families who objected to the removal of prayer in schools. What makes us think we're going to win this battle is the question. Because the progressive
honestly
education has won every time.
agree. And I think it's lost. I think the battle has been lost. And that's why I think people should homeschool their kids or start their own schools with people that they know and trust. I don't think we can trust the government with our children anymore.
What say the listeners on the YouTube? Do you trust your children with the government schools? Comment. Okay, so what is your third and final story?
All right.
Third and final story, chaps. I hope
Okay.
I think we've nailed this now.
Okay. Okay, so this third and final story has got to do with this trend now to find recipes on how to eat cicadas. Is that how it's called?
Are those insects?
Cicadas? Yeah, they're
Cicadas, yeah.
Cicadas. Cicadas.
Shikaka.
Cicada. So here's just a little this recipe on
Here's
how
now
to have
a little plate of appetizers.
chocolate covered cicadas. Or
Okay.
Cicadas. I'll have to read it out to you. It says this store is selling chocolate covered cicadas.
But when you combine the chocolate, the cinnamon, and the nuttiness of the bugs, it really gives you that like holiday feeling when you're walking around a big city and they're roasting nuts on the sidewalk and you have that cinnamon smell. It's really what it
Did
tastes
she
like.
say cinnamon?
Cinnamon. Brood X cicadas recently emerged after 17 years underground. This year, several chefs have tried to use them in their cooking.
Are these chefs
Sarah
French?
Dwyer owns Chouquette Chocolates and
The
saw
French
the
will eat
influx of cicadas as a chance to try something new.
They'll eat roadkill.
And they're just showing us pictures.
So then I'm gonna grab a bug, roll it in the chocolate. And then I did go to pastry school in Paris to learn my dipping
Ooh,
technique.
in Paris.
I'm pretty sure no one thought I would be using it on cicadas.
Cicadas. Okay. While many people call her venture unique, Dwyer says she believes bug protein will continue to grow in popularity.
There's not enough protein to go around, and I think,
Ooh,
you know,
protein to
I
go
really do
around.
think that this will be something that in 2038 people will not think twice about eating a bug at all.
Each bug is collected by Dwyer and her employees by hand.
J'adore.
They collect them in paper bags, and they're showing us them live right now. And before bringing them back to the shop to freeze and clean them. Oh my goodness.
Sounds revolting.
Okay, and then keep
No offense,
watching to
TV.
learn how to fry your own cicadas.
They already died, they were frozen. And then we just want to clean them really quickly, just like you would a fish or anything else that you wanted to eat from outside. And then we just bring them over here.
To the air fryer.
And you want to put them in the air fryer, so we put a little oil on
We
them,
still need
but
an
not
air fryer.
much.
We don't have one.
And then we dust them with a little cinnamon.
Ooh.
We should put that on our list. Oh my goodness.
And I'm gonna
This
shake it up a
is
little
gross. Oh! They look like
But once we put them in the
cockroaches.
air
That's what I
fryer.
thought, yeah.
This one for probably about 8 minutes at 400. I did have to figure all this out.
400 degrees
Then when they come
Fahrenheit.
out, they'll be
This is how
super crunchy
coronaviruses are
and really
made,
delicious.
folks. Right here.
Okay, so yeah, this is the trend.
Is that over now?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your interest in the story?
So obviously this has been a trend for several weeks, months now maybe,
Yeah.
about the cicadas and about how to eat them and how to prepare them. And it just reminds me of the way things are progressing in terms of the government, or I don't know who, is trying to push people to eat less meat. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So plant-based burger patties in where McDonald's and Burger King, and plant-based chicken in KFC. And then there's this, eating bugs and stuff. So I don't know if you guys know, but they've been eating bugs in China for a long time now. And it's true. In the markets, they would have just on sticks, you could eat roasted bugs.
Yes.
And that was kind of normal for them.
So you
but
ate that. Did you eat that?
No, I don't think I had any.
How would they prepare it? On the grill or something?
No, they were maybe on the grill. They were roasted, so they popped them
Roasted.
on like a shish kebab stick,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then would roast them.
So it's a roach kebab
It's
stick.
kind of like it's a crunchy snack. But anyway, I just think that it just makes me think why. It makes me wonder, why are people pushing us to eating less meat? And it basically, I think it has to do with the environment, right? It has to do with
This is
climate
interesting.
change.
So Jim West says the shrimp are effectively sea insects, and I've heard this. My dad used to say, "Look, mate, don't eat shrimp because they're the cockroaches of the sea." And
What about lobsters then?
I think they're big insects of the sea.
But
Think of it.
they have flesh inside, though.
Is it flesh though?
It's meat inside.
You call it meat.
Can you open an insect, and inside will it look like what's inside the shrimp?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But what's behind this whole push of insects?
Well,
What's the
I
nefarious
think it's-
intention?
No, I think it's the climate change lobby. I think they think that if you eat cows and sheep, that all of the methane that the cows fart out is causing climate change.
So they're saying that so Bill Gates is buying a load of land in the U.S. or has already bought farmland, and others loads of land, which I guess will grow protein replacement goods.
And then I saw a tweet today that, I don't know if this is real or not, but that you can see his potato farm from space growing McDonald's potatoes. Yeah, the for McDonald's. That you could see it from space. It's
You
so
could
big.
see a potato farm for McDonald's from space.
That's owned by Bill Gates.
Oh, right. So
That's
he
what
supplies
this-
potatoes to McDonald's?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. That's what I saw in a tweet that I was just scanning through.
Well, that's amazing. But I do think again, I'm not a proponent of big conspiracy theories because I think it's hard to align various numbers of people to do the same thing and keep quiet about it. But I do think there definitely is a general trend whereby people want to replace meat for moral reasons.
Yeah, I
and
guess
those
I don't
moral reasons are
understand.
twofold, right? First, it started out with animal rights and cows have rights and
Yeah.
cows have because they feel pain, they should be
Right.
spared death. They should be spared pain.
But see, that just goes against the whole abortion then. Don't babies feel pain? Of course they do.
No, it doesn't go against abortion because to them, babies are not living entities. They're just.
But they feel pain.
No, they're just a growth on the woman's
But they
body.
feel pain.
The growth feels pain, is what they would say. So, yeah, it's a hypocritical standard. Of course, it is. So it started out with, oh, we should spare cows pain, and then it started out with, oh, we need to save the planet from global warming.
Right, because of the CO2.
Right, but it is all part of the agenda, the age-old agenda of a minority of people trying to rule the majority of people. And that's not so bad if the minority of people are virtuous and have virtuous intentions.
I just don't understand why eat less meat. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's
Can
ludicrous.
you
We
imagine
eat meat every day.
a point in the future?
Every day.
Can you imagine a point in the future where you would be looked down upon by the majority of people if you ate meat? Can you imagine going to McDonald's and everything there is just plant-based?
No, I can't imagine that.
Do you think that will happen?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. But I think there will always be people who eat meat. And they will have a step up. They will have an advantage genetically.
Of course. Your body's made to eat meat.
And
that's why we have these types of teeth.
Yeah. I think meat is the future.
Don't they teach that in school still? About identifying omnivores, carnivores, and herbivores and by their teeth?
Yes, but if they force the human race to wean itself off of meat, they're going to have to force the rest of the animal kingdom, clearly. So sharks are going to have to go on a vegan diet. Orca whales, lions, tigers, alligators. What's next?
You're ridiculous.
So that was your third and last story.
Yeah, that was it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did we cover? We covered Theresa May critiquing government for its push on Freedom Day, unironically stated Freedom Day.
Boris Johnson was the first story.
We heard about Boris Johnson and his stupid blubbering comment that the future will be more feminine and more gender neutral.
Does he not realize?
We heard a parent object to the indoctrination of their 5 to 10-year-olds in sexual debauchery. And then from you, we heard about cicadas. What is it?
Cicadas.
Cicadas as the future protein source.
Yeah.
We heard about
but don't
CRT.
They have feelings? Can't they feel?
Yes, they have feelings. I have feelings at the tip of my toe too when I stub it against the bedpost and stuff. But no one's talking about.
Anyway.
Okay, so then we talked about CRT being critiqued by a parent, and then your first story was.
The guy caught on Zoom.
Oh yes, the masturbation of the yes. All very very disheartening. The trends in society are towards more debauchery, more authoritarianism, and more ideological poison. And so we hope that you guys, in your own little way, whether with your grandchildren or your children or your nieces and nephews or brothers and sisters or even your parents, that you show them a light Show them a light away from debauchery, a light away from ideological poison, and show them that the future is unironically a return to the past.
Let's end on a positive note here. I've got the COVID deaths for today.
Okay. The raw numbers, 5.
In England, 1 in Scotland, 1 in Wales.
But we're
the UK.
We're only one variant away.
7 deaths.
We're only one variant
today.
Away from getting back to thousands dying a day.
So let's do it positively. Positively.
Save the NHS. Save it. Clap.
Positively.
Please clap.
It seems like whatever, things are looking good, right?
Things are looking good, but they were always good.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Based on rates.
If you guys have not, go get that book, A State of Fear by Laura Dodsworth. She shows you how the UK government has manipulated their facts and figures to put fear in you. And if you are really afraid of what's going on in the world about this virus, you don't need to be. And you can have that curtain opened. And you can see the wonderful Wizard of Oz and what he's been doing behind there.
Yes.
And realize that you don't need to be so fearful.
Yeah. Government is the Wizard of Oz, and COVID itself is the Wizard of Oz. If people would just stand up and assert their rights, their God-given rights to freedom, then we would be in a different place. Let's stage a demasking flash mob somewhere.
Yeah, we
someday.
were thinking, because we were in Southampton, that we would like it if we all met up and just took our masks off at the same time.
Yeah, like a group of like 50, 60 people
maybe
go into them.
Played the song by...
Maybe play God Save the Queen. And we take our masks off and sing. How incredible would that be? On that note, thanks, folks, for watching live on YouTube.
And thanks for listening, podcast listeners.
And we'll get this next time. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, guys.